Hello parents, thank you for tuning in. I wanted to put this video together to introduce myself and my class to you so you know a little bit more about what's going on in your students' AP World Modern course. Um, First, I want to introduce myself. I'm a graduate of Eastern Michigan University with some stints at the University of Michigan and Michigan and Macomb Community College. I've been a teacher in UCS for 20 years with stops at Jeannette Junior High, Stevenson, and now at UAIS. My family is very dear to me. My wife is a teacher at Jeannette Junior High as well. My daughter, I'm so super excited to have as a student in my AP World Modern class. She's a sophomore here at UAIS. And my son is a seventh grader at Shelby Junior High in the virtual academy this year. The AP World course, we follow the curriculum that's set out by the College Board, and we follow that to a T. Your students will absolutely be prepared for success on the AP exam this May. Through this AP curriculum, we use our Schoology platform here at school. I try to keep everything very organized for the students so they know what's going on every single time we meet. You can always check in on their Schoology to see daily updates for what is going on in our course. Each and every day that we are touching base with each other, I create videos like this to provide that more traditional lecture that I formerly did in class. So students watch this, do some reading, sometimes do some outside work or some test practice, and that pretty much makes up the day-to-day activities for our class. Please note the AP World curriculum went through some big changes over the last couple of years. So if you have an older sibling or older child that went through this course, the class is very different. We now only study from 1200 to the modern era. Of course, UAIS kids, you guys covered that in the previous year, so you've got all the bases covered. The grading is probably the most confusing and unique aspect to my class. First, recognize that the vast majority of a student's score is coming from their test grades. Everything else, only 20% of their grade. My tests are based on a standards-based model, which means one test might very well comprise 4 or 5 different standards. Each one of those standards is assessed on a scale from 0 to 2. 0, student doesn't know what they need to know. 1, student knows some things, but it's not quite where they need to be. And a 2 is where we all want to be. A 2 is, I think you are good with that content standard. We can move on. Based on those standards, I average them out to give the student 1 course grade for their assessments. And that's going to be on a 100-point scale. You will see that on PowerSchool as a standards-based grade, SBG adjuster. It's going to be what's taking all of those 2s and 1s and turning them into an actual letter grade. And you can see the scale that I use next to me here. Students can retest on any standards. They must retest on zeros. Zeros I consider a failing grade. It destroys the entire grade. So a student has to get rid of those zeros. That is so important because one of those zeros could represent a standard that down the road ends up being their long essay question on the AP exam. So definitely make sure that you are having your students take care of their zeros on their standard grades. These standard assessments or reassessments are just done through meetings with me after class, or maybe a student will schedule something during another open point in their schedule during their day or possibly after school if need be. But traditionally after class, while the rest of the class is getting to their work, a student can meet with me privately online and we'll have this conversation. And I just ask them questions and find out, do you now know what you need to know? If you do, great. I changed the grade, no harm, no foul. If you don't, this can turn into a really quick tutoring session with me. With regard to homework, late work will be accepted, but I want to make sure that you are having all late work submitted to me by the end of each quarter. And when you do submit late work, if you do, I encourage you not, because I want you to stay on schedule. But if a student does submit late work, they should notify me via Schoology so things just don't get lost in a pile of emails. If you need to contact me, please do so at my email address. That's the best way to stay in contact with me. And I will be sure to get back with you and answer any questions that you have. So thanks for tuning in. If I see you at conferences next week, wonderful. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work at this point, but I'm sure we're going to be hearing soon. And if I don't meet you at conferences, please know that you can email me at any point. I would love to touch base with you. Take care.